Shalom and welcome back to Talking Torah. We're so happy to have everyone back, and we're very excited to talk about this week's Parsha. But before we do, I just want to remind everybody that this Saturday we're having a special alternative service in the Center for Jewish Life, the CJL Minyan as we've been calling it, and I'm excited. It's the first one of the year. We're trying some new things. We're always trying new things in the service. And the theme, really the overarching theme, is going to be the relationship between Judaism and Islam, and discovering that a little bit in this week's Torah portion, Vayera.
Very nice. Look, I'm hoping that a lot of people will come down and participate, and at the very least, allow themselves to see what we're trying to do to create different avenues for people to experience Judaism. That it's not everything is one size only. There's a sanctuary, there's a CJL, and maybe that entices other people to join us.
Yeah, we are always experimenting in that service, so you should come and experiment with it a little bit too.
And as long as we're doing shameless commercials.
Yes. I wanted you to talk about November 11th.
November 11th, let's remember, it's Kristallnacht. It is a night that, actually it's a night where we remember events that occurred many, many years ago back in Germany and Austria. It's the night really that turned the page, when the Jewish community in those two countries came to understand very clearly that what Nazism was all about was the intent to destroy Jewish life in those countries and others which would follow. And Kristallnacht, because of the broken glass that was all over Germany and Austria. Many Jews were killed, sadly. Many Jewish stores, thousands of stores were burned to the ground, synagogues. And so we remember that. It's our way of commemorating that very horrific chapter in the history of Jewry of Western Europe.
So yeah, make sure to join us on November 11th. So this week's Parsha really is a fascinating Parsha, so much so that the readings that we do on Rosh Hashanah, both for the first day and the second day of Rosh Hashanah, come from this week's Torah portion, Vayera. And Vayera is really all about Abraham. But I think that what I'm really most interested to talk about today, and we had talked a little bit about this off camera, is the beginning, the opening of this week's Torah reading, Vayera, where Abraham is sitting at the entrance of the tent, and it says, Vayera elav Adonai, and there Abraham saw God. And then Abraham is visited by three men, kind of mysterious men. So I want to know what your thoughts are about the opening of the portion.
Well, you know, there's the simple message, and then there's the deeper message. The simple message is that there's God coming to, quote-unquote, be with Avram, visit Avram, because Avram is in the stage of recuperating from his Brit Milah, from having circumcised himself. And God, to be with him during this difficult time, comes to visit, and from there we learn the mitzvah of Bikur Cholim. But where it gets really interesting is, so God's with Abraham, and all of a sudden Abraham looks out into the distance, he sees these three mysterious men, doesn't even say to God, excuse me, God, doesn't say, I'll be right back, just takes off and goes out towards those men to bring them back into his tent, to take care of them, to give them water, to give them food, to practice the mitzvah of hachnasat orchim, of hospitality. So, on the one hand, we would say it's pretty disrespectful to just leave God hanging there. Is that the way we understand the story? Just that Avram is showing disrespect to God. And I read this really interesting comment, and I know you found it interesting, that really God was okay with that.
Yeah.
God was okay with that, because what was Avram doing? Avram was running to people to show them hospitality, to bring goodness and kindness to them. And so there is this feeling that in the commentators that we are asked to show two forms of love. We are asked to love God, right? V'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. And v'ahavta l'reecha kamocha. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. So there are two loves.
Right.
Which is primary. And it's fascinating to me that some of the commentators suggest that God feels okay if our love for our fellow human being, our compassion, kindness, in a sense, precedes our own gestures of love to God.
Yeah, but you know, I think what's amazing about the text here is that it's actually blurring the lines very, very particularly between humans and God, right? Mm-hmm. So it begins by saying, Vayira elav Adonai, Abraham saw God, and then it says, Vayar v'hine shlosha anashim, and then he saw two men, right?
Three men.
Three men. So it's the same language of seeing. Now there's no reason to think that when it says that he saw God, that he wasn't actually seeing those three men and God being the extension there.
Yeah.
So when he ran out to those men, when he saw those men, it might be that the Torah is trying to tell us, and our commentators and our more modern theologians will tell us, that when he actually saw those men, that's when he was seeing God. When I see you right now, when I'm talking to you right now, I'm seeing God. And when I come and I show love for you, I'm showing love as an extension of my love for God.
You know, that's a wonderful additional twist to it, which I absolutely like a lot. But either way,
right,
your interpretation or mine, what the Torah commentators are telling us, because the Torah obviously obfuscates and doesn't make it terribly clear for us.
Of course.
What the commentators are saying to us is that the world of the interpersonal is far more sacred, has the potential, that is, to be far more sacred than we might think it to be. That there is sanctity to be found in the world of human relationships.
Right.
And whether it is that God is appearing in the form of three travelers, or that God is distinct from them, one way or another, there is this message that we need to see our relationship with these men, or with all people rather, in the capacity or the potential of being holy.
Right. And when we go to visit someone who's sick, when we do this mitzvah of Bikor Olim, we should understand that the work we're doing is not only on the human level, that just by doing this mitzvah of visiting someone is to bring God into that space, by just our being there. When the relationship between two people is at a high level, when someone's sick and is feeling down and you're able to make them feel better, that's when God is there. And so these men, it could be that these three men were coming, and actually the Midrash says that they were three of the archangels, Raphael, Michael, and Gabriel. Mm-hmm. And Raphael is the archangel of healing. And so one of these, it really could easily be understood that it's not only that God, the way that God was showing the mitzvah of Bikor Cholim was by sending these three people, and therefore we learn that when we do the mitzvah of Bikor Cholim, we are acting on behalf of God's sanctity.
Very, very nice.
Parshat Vayera is so packed, and there's so much to unravel, and we're going to be doing a lot of that this coming Shabbos with the regular main service in the sanctuary, and also the Center for Jewish Life will have the CJL minyan. It's going to be a wonderful Shabbos. I'm looking forward to this Parsha guiding us. Thank you all so much for taking the time to be with us.
Good to spend time with you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Lehitraot.